That of the Aggies. Laviolette and Montgomery also due to hit here in the first inning, and this game is underway. Ball one outside from Tony Roby.
We're talking about a sea of maroon out here in white. I'm telling you, this place is filled to the brim.
Grahovac looks at a strike, 1-1. Texas A&M coming off a hard-fought sweep over Auburn this past weekend. Into that series with a thrilling 12-inning walk-off victory on Saturday to improve to 6-3 in SEC play. That ball laced to left field with a base hit for the freshman Grahovac. His stellar debut season continues here in St. Marcus. A leadoff double starts the game here tonight.
Brant, we've had a chance to watch this young man a couple weeks ago in Globe Life as well, and then continue to pay attention to them as the year goes on. Catches something in, pulls it down the line, but this young man's got a lot of power, and as he grows and just keeps getting better, man, it's fun to think about what this young man's going to look like at 21 years old as a junior for what he's done already as a freshman.
Grahovac 7 for 16 over the weekend against Auburn. Doubled 3 times in that series and doubles here. Brings up Laviolette for Texas A&M. This pitch, a knee-high strike pumped in by Roby. Big power numbers on the air for Laviolette. 13 home runs in the season, 4th in the SEC, 13th nationally. Behind him is Roby, 0-2.
You start thinking about throwing numbers out there like 13 homers, and it's just now, right? We got second half of the season to go, and last year as a freshman is when he took off the second half of the season going into the SEC type pitching.
Now, something we should get into tonight is the wind. This ballpark can play very small when the wind is blowing out, but tonight the wind is coming in 18 miles an hour. That means the park's going to play really large, very pitcher friendly here this evening.
That's why you got to attack the zone. And it is obviously a different park for the teams that have played here, the fans that have been here, the people who are watching on TV. When those gates are open out to left in the center field, it does, as you just said, it plays small. Now, it doesn't mean you can't hit it out in this ballpark tonight, but you're going to have to really get in behind it to do it.
2-2. Laviolette strikes out looking. And the first strikeout of the night for Tony Roby is good for the first out of the game. One away on a 94-mile-per-hour fastball.
Yeah, I think he kind of surprised him a little bit, Brant. He goes in, tries to lock that barrel up, and also surprised him that it was going to be a fastball and challenge that inner part of the plate.
Well, you talk about impact transfers, and maybe no transfer has had a bigger impact this year than Braden Montgomery.
Well, that is a true statement. I mean, if you're a Bobcat fan, you remember this guy from the regional in Stanford and how good he did. He came in and pitched late that night, and also swung the bat. And then again last year, if you're a Longhorn fan watching, he got a taste of him as well.
1 ball, 1 strike. Montgomery, 16 home runs this year. Second of the nation, the only player with more, Charlie Condon of Georgia, who has 19.
He is some kind of good-looking baseball player. His swing on both sides of the plate, his arm. I mean, obviously he's a player of the year type candidate. It's just a lot of things this young man can do, and how fun is it to listen to Coach Schlossnagle talk about just how humble and how great of a team, and how he's meshed himself into their team, into their dugout already when he first got here.
Never gets too high, never gets too low. Former Stanford Cardinal, now his first year at College Station. 1 ball, 1 strike from Roby. 2-1. 47 RBI, that leads the nation. 5th in the country in slugging, 3rd in total bases. The list just goes on and on with Braden Montgomery.
I had to double take this morning when I was going through the stats at that 47 RBIs. I mean, that's just incredibly impressive.
In the air, left field. Pena going back at the track. He looks. It's gone. Home run number 17, Braden Montgomery. Right into the wind. Trying to push that ball in. Montgomery says, so what? and it's 2-0 Texas A&M.
Well, he's just showing off his power. We had just talked about how the wind is blowing in. You can go down the lines with it, but still, that is still into a lot of wind traffic. He gets in behind it, doesn't try to pull it, and I'll tell you, this is as pretty of an opposite field swing as you can get with the power. Hits at the top of the net, and they just continue, and he just continues to hit homers and stack up the RBIs.
Well, I guess it's Oppo Taco Tuesday. Montgomery, the opposite field home run. 2-0 Texas A&M. That brings up Jackson Appel. Will again tie that top third of the order. For Hoback, Laviolette, Montgomery, tough to navigate through for any pitching staff.
And the balance of it, right, left, switch. I mean, you don't get comfortable on one side of the plate throwing to them as a pitcher, and their plate presence and their ability to take pitches and lay off of balls that are just off the edge creates a lot of walks, creates a lot of tension for the opposing pitcher.
Two and 1 to Appel. Swung on towards right field, and that's inside the line for a base hit. Rattles into the corner. And Appel on his way to second base. The Aggies' second double of the inning. And right now teeing off against Tony Roby in Texas State.
Another ball kind of running into him. And he pulls it exactly where he can with that ball running in. Brent, that's right down the line. Look at him pull his hands in there. Oh, that is just on the line for a double. I tell you what, this young man has made it. You were talking about the top half of this lineup. This young man has transferred part of it, and what he's done for the.
Strike one from Roby.
Well, I was exhausted by the end of the day. We'd had a game too, and I was trying like crazy to stay up and made it to right before he drove in the winning run. As I was starting to nod off on the couch and watching a lot of baseball.
No balls, 2 strikes on the breaking pitch there from Roby. Burton finished that series with 6 hits. He was on base 5 times in the finale. Coach Schlossnagle really impressed with his team's ability to sweep Auburn over the weekend. In the air towards center, Cameron Weil drifting over towards right, and he'll be called off by Ferris. He makes the catch. Appel will tag and go to third base. And that throw was right on line and nearly got it. Appel is in safely, but how about the arm strength from Ethan Ferris?
Well, how about let's go back to the beginning of the play. He lost it in the sun. He didn't know where it was. Cameron Weil was hollering at him to look back to his left. He finally locates the ball, and then off balance after he catches it, throws an absolute missile to third base.
Wow. 2 outs, and now runner at third, and here's Hayden Schott, the 6th bat of the inning for Texas A&M. Aggies with a 2-run homer from Braden Montgomery earlier in the inning. By the way, Montgomery homered 4 times against Auburn over the weekend, twice on Friday. So that is now 4 straight games for the home run. And there, strike one.
I've been around this game a long time. That's hard to explain. You know how many homers, and you start talking about home run streaks, not hitting streaks, home run streaks, and series against SEC pitching. It's hard to do.
Coach Schlossnagle didn't think his pitching threw as many strikes as he would have liked over the weekend, and to be able to get away with that and still sweep an SEC opponent, very impressive. 2-1. That ball lined to left, and Pena dives and can't make the catch. Appel scores easily. 3 doubles in the inning for Texas A&M. It is 3-0.
I'll tell you what, they're just cutting balls right through the wind right now, getting to the middle of the baseball. Away, 2 left-handed hitters between Montgomery and Schott going the other way, driving the ball the other way. Looked like Pena was going to almost have a chance to make an unbelievable diving catch, but the ball just kept tailing away from him.
The shortstop, number 2.
Schott, one of the Aggies' top run producers. That's his 26th RBI. Ali Camarillo looks at strike one.
Well, what you're going to see out of the Aggies offensively is they're going to take a lot of pitches. They've done a great job of profiling themselves of what they want to find, what they're looking for, the area, the type. It's rare that they chase. They may take more pitches than they're going to chase pitches out of the strike zone.
Top 10 of the nation in on-base percentage. 14th nationally in slugging. 1 through 9. It's one of the top batting orders in the country. 0-2. And does he go? Yes, he does. Camarillo goes around, says Michael Carroll at first base. Second strikeout for Roby, but the damage done by the Aggies. Brent Montgomery goes deep.
Doing it at a really high level.
Chase Moore, Cameron Weil, Alec Patino. Batters 1 through 3. Followed by Aaron Lugo, Dalen Pena, August Ramirez. And 1 through 9 rounded out by Galloway, Powell, and Ferris. And Moore leads off against Jackson and looks at a pitch outside for ball 1. Interesting change from Steve Trout tonight, Ty, to put Moore at the top of the order.
Well, he's been struggling, but you know he's good. He's done it for you before. This is an opportunity to show him some confidence. Maybe he had a great day of work yesterday. Pre-game-wise, had a good BP, and you get him more at bat. You know, trying to get him going, doing everything you can to get this young man back on track.
3-0 from Jackson. Chase Moore hitless over the weekend against Louisiana. Since March 16th, his batting average has gone down 50 points. And he'll walk on 4 pitches.
Sometimes, Grant, when you're looking any way positive as a hitter to get on base, to get some momentum, the good thing for that, you know, for Moore in that situation, he saw 4 pitches. He was kind of relaxed seeing them, so something that maybe helps him as he comes back around the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th times.
Now to the plate, Cameron Weil. Strike 1 from Jackson. Texas A&M team that started the year 17-0. Their 25-3 record through 28 games. Their best record through 28 since 2015. In the air to center field. Laviolette, easy play. He was playing shallow with those winds coming in and not a lot of power for Weil. And that's the first shot of the inning.
He gets a little fastball. How about a little 95-mile-an-hour fastball? In on him a little bit off that 84-mile-an-hour breaker. He'd thrown 4 straight fastballs to lead off to Moore. Couldn't connect, so he connects with a breaker to get it 0-1, and then comes back with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball on top of it.
Alec Patino coming off a productive series against the Cajuns over the weekend. 4 for 11, hit a 2-run homer on Friday. The first-year transfer out of Ohio. One ball, no strikes.
I got to think this young man, when he woke up this morning, didn't know exactly what it was going to look like out here today. Now, I can't assume he's played in front of this kind of crowd at University of Ohio, but for him, this is probably it is an exciting, not probably is.
Ahead here against Jackson, 2 balls, no strikes. These two met only once a year ago. Texas A&M won that game 10-9. A lot happened early in that game. Each team scored 5 runs in the first inning.
Yeah, that's unusual, by the way. I know it is. It's making an overstatement, but doesn't happen often.
Ryan Leary had a grand slam for the Bobcats in that game. In that first inning, 2 balls, 1 strike to Patino. Jackson misses, 3-1. We talk about long games, by the way. Of course, that first inning sets a tone. Each team used 8 pitchers that night at a game that went nearly 4 hours.
Yeah, I was observing it. I remember it too. And
Patino on the ground, could be 2. Targach, Camarillo right back to Burton on a 4-6-3 double play. The Aggies turn their 11. Leadoff man, Caden Sorrell for Texas A&M. Aggies scoring 3 times in the first, getting a 2-run homer from Montgomery. Hayden shot a RBI double, and then defensively Ty in the bottom half More good, solid defense from Texas A&M.
Yeah, I mean, Targac takes that ground ball and just kind of sits down on it a little bit, knew what the hop was going to feel like, kind of sat down like a catcher field and shovels it over and complete the double play. And again, when you start looking at those gaudy numbers at 984 fielding percentage and just, you know, how impressive that is. And
Sorrell rolls one foul. Count remains 0-2.
And again, on turf, 978, 975, 978, you're still feeling it pretty good. And, you know, obviously we talked about a minute ago, they're doing it on natural surface, but the best natural surface that there is in college baseball, probably.
Sorrell had a huge 3-run homer for Texas A&M in Friday's win over Auburn. Making his ninth start of the year, has gotten more playing time as of late as you look at Bobcat Ballpark. Beautiful 73-degree night, sun is out, wind blowing in. 0-2, Roby to Sorrell, swing and a miss. On the pitch, slowing in. Third strikeout for Roby, one away in the inning.
Roby does a good job at throwing the inline fastball looking line with the breaker coming off of that fastball line. Gets him to swing over the top of it, going for that back left foot of a left-handed hitter, and it gets him to swing over the top of it.
The 9-hole hitter, Ryan Targac, senior out of Hallettsville. That ball roped into right center field. Bobcats had the shift on. Targac found a little gap, a little window there between Powell and Mora for a one-out base hit.
I'm not sure he could have picked this ball up, Brent, and thrown it anywhere different than where he just hit it to get it through the two of them, because they were in a shift. Look at this right here. I mean, you split them perfectly to come up with a hit.
And back to the top of the order to Grahovac. Dublin has scored in the first inning for Texas A&M. Aggies 6-3 in SEC play, 2 games back of Arkansas for first in the SEC West. Worth noting that the final SEC series of the year for Texas A&M at home against the Razorbacks could decide the conference title.
I mean, if you're just looking into a crystal ball, you know, none of us can predict the future. Obviously, we can't even predict a minute ahead, but the reality of what that might look like and represent, you're talking about a lot of eyes on that weekend series. It will be anyway, but I mean, really, it's headed to a point where it could be to decide a championship.
A&M won the SEC West in Jim Schlossnagle's first year, 2022. Roby able to strike out Grahovac up to 4 Ks in the game, 2 outs in the inning. That'll bring up Laviolette with 2 down.
I'm telling you right now, the Aggie hitters don't chase much out of the strike zone. And you just saw him expand and chase a ball that bounced and was way off the plate. That tells you, what that really tells you a little bit more about Roby attacking that breaker, much more so than him chasing it.
Big time shift on here for Texas State with Laviolette batting. The second baseman, Mora, is basically in shallow right field right now, playing towards the line.
He's pretty close. He can run over and catch the bullpen catcher throwing to him.
Laviolette, big home run hitter, 13 this year. Broke the program's freshman record for home runs a year ago with 21. It was a freshman record that has stood for this program since 1987. 1-0. Grounded foul by Laviolette.
Well, I'm assuming that's John Byington. Is that who, the freshman? Yeah. And I watched that young man, young man as young as he used to be anymore. Coach Byington, I watched him crush my soul one time when I was coaching at UT, and he hit 2 walk-off homers against us. I mean, how many times can a guy do it in one weekend? But he did, what was so impressive when you talked to Coach Schlossnagle about Laviolette last year, he was playing pretty good, but then he hit SEC baseball. in the arms that they face, and
Yeah.
he just took off. I mean, it just tells you about his potential and what he is and what he's going to even become as he just continues to grow as a hitter and as a player.
That's a great point because the pitching you see in the SEC tends to really overwhelm young hitters. Laviolette led the SEC in slugging in conference play a year ago.
Yeah, I mean, and that's right, left matchup. There's no telling how many times last year they ran a left-handed matchup guy on him in a big moment, and or starting pitcher, either one, and he handles both sides, right and left-handed pitching.
Laviolette able to check his swing that time. Normally at Bobcat Ballpark, it is a three-man crew, but tonight it's a four-man crew. Here's San Marcos. Michael Durante is calling balls and strikes. Michael Carroll at first base, Clayton Ham at second, and Luke Hamilton over at third. Laviolette shoots out to Patino, a line drive into a double play, and that'll end the inning. The Bobcats turn their 29th.
Conversation, talking about offense and homers, and you see strike one. I mean, but the pitching and defense is, if you can do that on a continual basis, you give yourself a chance to win. You give your offense a chance to help you win the game.
Aaron Lugo fouls it away, falls behind 0-2. For the Bobcats tonight, the end of a 5-game homestand. 8 of their next 9 on the road, to include their next 2 weekends in Sunbelt play. Aaron Lugo, over the weekend, 5 for 12 against Louisiana, running a 7-game hitting streak. Behind against Jackson, no balls and 2 strikes. Jackson deals, and Lugo looks at a pitch in the turf, 1-2.
I know we showed some shots earlier of the stadium and the crowd and how much maroon and white. I mean, this place is just filled up. It continues to fill up. And it's such a beautiful sight for college baseball. And San Marcos, and see Lugo foul it back again. I mean, this is what college baseball is supposed to look like, in my opinion. When you wake up as a coach, you can see at the caboose, just so many different people, and then down the right field line, left field line, out on the softball field.
It's a ballpark which lists its capacity at 2,500. Now, it's going to be more than that tonight with the standing room only. So you're probably looking at a number close to 3,000.
Well, yeah, I'm going to say over 3,000. Because I've seen it at 32. The first changeup we've seen Jackson go to.
Two. And Lugo able to check his swing. He'll count 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, that's tough on an umpire. I've seen umpires call that pitch because that barrel gets moving as he's trying to kind of get out of the way. That barrel keeps moving forward, and you'll see some umpires call that.
Lugo up the middle and charging in Targac, and the veteran makes the play. Ryan Targac has played in more than 170 games with Texas A&M. He'll play their second, 1 away in the second inning.
Well, Luke Jackson made a great play, and I'm going to tell you what he did. It was a play he didn't make. That ball, he got ready to go after that ball and pulled his glove back because he knew exactly where Targac was and let him go field it.
So far, Jackson has faced the minimum. That'll bring up Dalen Pena. Coming off a red-hot month of March, Pena hit .351 in the month. Homered 6 times, drove in 22. In the air towards center field. Laviolette drifting over. And he'll make the catch in front of Montgomery. A lot of balls dying in the outfield tonight with the exception of Montgomery's home run. Pena's retired, 2 outs in the inning.
Well, he goes back to that changeup. Second one he's thrown. get Pena out in front of it, and he does, and gets that barrel just underneath it and hung up in the wind. Obviously, that you could see he had to shuffle steps a little bit right as he got ready to catch that ball. Just that wind just keeps knocking it down if you're not driving it through it.
So far, the Bobcats one base runner. Ramirez grounds that off himself. 0-1 to the senior out of Helotes.
So far, it's been we're way early in this game and only 5 outs into it, but Luke Jackson's been pretty clean. He walked the leadoff guy, ended up getting a double play to end inning number 1. Gets a ground ball, a fly ball. I mean, he got back in the zone to start this half inning.
We can expect to see several arms for Texas A&M tonight. Jim Schlossnagle having to use a few arms multiple times over the weekend against Auburn. So some of those pitchers not available in this game. Told us beforehand we can expect to see some guys who need some innings, need some work tonight. What's funny though, he said this is a perfect game for that because the way the park is playing.
Well, yeah, the wind blowing in is what he's talking about. Is now you're going to watch the Aggies go into a full shift where they're going to move Rahovac over to second base. Instead of moving the shortstop over, they move the third base over to put 3 defenders on the right side of second base to cover up the left-handed hitting Ramirez. To go back to your point, yeah, I mean, you throw enough strikes in this and you get enough out, fly balls, you have a chance. But the other piece, I would be excited as a coach because look at the crowd you're throwing in front of. You want to see what kind of heart rate they have. You want to see how they handle these kind of moments. And so, yeah, if you want to get some guys work, yeah. But let's see if they can, emotionally get after it too. If I was an opposing coach to come into this, it'd be fun for you guys to get out there under these.
Ramirez, fly ball hit to right. Montgomery going back. He looks. That's gone off the scoreboard. August Ramirez, career run number 19. And Texas State is on the board.
I'll tell you what, Augie Ramirez just unloads on this ball to right field. And Brand, I'm going to tell you, as soon as he hit it, I thought it was out, not because of what I thought I saw, but because I watched Montgomery's back, and Montgomery turns his back. He gets a fastball right in the heart of the plate, and he does not miss it. Watch Montgomery turns his back, and he knew it was out of here as well.
For Ramirez, 5th home run of the season. His first since the first conference weekend of the year.
On a night where the wind's cutting in, they're having to hit through this wind traffic. They're just, both teams so far have already got a homer.
Galloway fouls that one away. 1 ball, 1 strike. 4 hits over the weekend against the Raging Cajuns. In the last 10 games for Rashawn Galloway on an absolute tear. Hitting .447 over his past 10. Tied 2-1. 8 RBI over that stretch. He has scored 9 times. And has really cemented himself with a DH spot. Galloway pops it up. Appel behind the plate. Going to drift into the stands.
Goes back to that changeup. You got Galloway out front. Any other day with that wind blowing out south, that ball stays fair. Or stays in the ballpark. I'm sorry, with the catcher, Appel would have had a chance to catch it.
Galloway, that shoots off of Jackson, charging in. Camarillo, throw to first base in time.
Wow.
An infield assist off the calf of. He's here in the 3rd inning. Not a lot of road games this year for Texas A&M. This is just their 5th compared to 21 at home. And in those 21 home games at Bluebell Park, they have won 20 of them. Only team to beat them in College Station, Mississippi State.
If I was going to pick a place to go, this would be one of those. You're playing on turf, playing in front of a good crowd, short trip, not as far a trip. You don't get home, just real late, provided the game ends when it could or should. And quality opponent, a great town. I mean, this is a good setting. If you're going to go travel and play on a Tuesday, this is a great setting to go do it.
1-2, Roby ahead of Montgomery. That ball grounded foul. Tony Roby getting a lot of experience on the mound for Texas State. Been with the program since 2020. Closing in on 200 career innings. And up to now 67 appearances and 36 starts.
I mean, when you go out and recruit a guy to come into your program, and you get that kind of production, and he's been used every, on the back end, in the mid-relief, starting, I mean, all kinds of things. Weekend starter, Tuesday starter.
Swing and a miss. Montgomery strikes out over the top of the breaking ball. Now, really, for Roby, the book on him is fastball location. Fastball much better than secondary pitches, but his breaking ball is really filthy tonight.
Well, he's starting in on that inline fastball position. And to those left-handed hitters, they think it's a fastball in, something they're going to be able to drop the barrel down and get after. And it's a breaker, and it just keeps running toward their back foot and gets them to swing over the top of it.
Strike one to Appel. Bobcats have been a good midweek team this year. 5-2 midweek games. They've won 4 in a row. That's outside, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, I can promise you this. They find a way to win against the Aggies tonight. Here, the square downtown is going to be out all night. I can assure you that. It'll be the last one to turn the lights off.
Another big midweek slate on deck next week for the Bobcats. They have the home and home series with Texas Tuesday here. And next Wednesday, just up the road on 35. That ball hit sharply on the ground into right field under the glove of Patino. Trying to backhand that. Couldn't get to it, and Appel has his second hit of the game.
Again, he gets another ball. He can pull down the line. A slider running into him doesn't go below the barrel. He gets down there and gets after it. Maybe gets over and knocks it out. Maybe not. But the ball was hit so hard. All you can do is react with your glove and turn your glove down to try to stop it and catch it. It wasn't able to.
One out single brings up Ted Burton. The first-year transfer out of Michigan. 4 seasons with the Wolverines. 2-time All-Big Ten. Second team All-Conference honors a year ago. His final year in Ann Arbor. Runner goes. Ground ball hit to third. Lugo only plays at first. 2 outs in the inning.
Looked like they were putting on a hit and run with Burton there. Appel getting out of there, making sure he went to the plate with it. Got it on the ground, maybe trying to get it to the right side to hit it through that hole, but trying to create a little bit of offense with 1 out, putting the game in motion.
Another first-year transfer to the plate now, Hayden Schott. Last 2 years in the Ivy League with Columbia.
Well, the Aggies did good in the portal. I mean, they scored in the portal. I mean, that's part of college athletics. People can say what they want to say one way or another. It doesn't matter. What is today. And they did well, obviously, with Montgomery and Appel. I mean, that's Burton. I mean, that's.
No balls, 2 strikes. Roby up to 5 strikeouts in the game. Nothing in 2. That's fought off by Schott. 2-time All-Ivy League with Columbia. 2 years with that program. Hit 23 homers, drove in 86. Got an RBI chance here with Appel at second base. 2 outs in the third inning. High fastball from Roby, 1-2.
At some point, you know, he's used that inline breaker to left-handed hitters. And he was able to get Laviolette the first time through going to inline fastball. I'd be curious if he tries to go in there firm and back to that breaker.
It's been effective.
Well, it has. I mean, it's got great depth to it. Tonight, he's done a good job of attacking it. And again, these Aggie hitters don't chase much out of the strike zone. I think we said it in the first inning. This tells you a little bit about how hard he's attacking that breaker and how it's shaping up tonight.
Schott got a piece of the last pitch to stay alive. Camarillo waits on deck, and that's grounded foul again.
And the other piece of this, when you use that inline breaker, Brant, if you do make contact with it, it's hard to keep fair. It's hard to get your hands in there tight enough in there to get the barrel flush to it so you can keep it fair, like you've seen so many balls pulled down the line and foul tonight already.
Aggies making Roby work. Pitch number 59 coming up, and it's a miss, high and in. Twice Roby's come off the mound, thought he had the inning over.
He went to that inside fastball that time, the same one he got Laviolette on. Looked like this one just a little bit more elevated and in, and didn't catch the strike zone.
Shot in the air to left, and that is hooking foul. No play there for Dalen Pena. Another great two-strike approach here by an Aggie hitter.
Yeah, this has been a good battle. And that's the thing about a hit and run or run and hit what they ran with 1 out, is that your worst case scenario, if you execute it and hit the ball on the ground, even if they throw you out at first, you're still in scoring position at second base with a potential RBI out there for the next hitter.
2 balls, 2 strikes. That's it pretty well towards right center. And Ferris coming in, can't make the catch. It's off his glove. Trickles towards center field. On his way to third is Schott. A&M back on top by 3.
That ball held up in the wind, Brant. When he first hit it, I thought it had a chance to really get out there and go into the gap and maybe have him make a catch over their left shoulder. But the wind just knocks it down. He's not able to catch back up to it towards the gap and wasn't able to make the catch.
Number 2, Ali Camarillo.
So Schott, a 2 RBI night with a double and now a triple. First triple of the year for Schott. 2 out up base hit, makes it 4-1. And a miss from Roby will lead to a mound visit with his catcher, August Ramirez.
You know, you see a lot of balls that when you play out here in inter squads and BP that the wind historically blows out. So when a ball's hit like that, you think that's got to be over my head, and he did. He turned to open his hips up to go outrun the ball, and it just looked like the ball stayed in the gap area, right? And didn't you know, it kind of got knocked down and didn't keep carrying where he was trying to run to.
Bunt down from Camarillo. That's a fair ball, and the play's made by Ramirez to end the inning. But Texas A&M gets that run back. 2 out RBI triple, Hayden Schott. We go to the bottom. Schnagel and Steve Trout. Of course, Coach Schloss used to be the head coach at TCU for a long time. Won almost 700 games in his tenure at Fort Worth, and one of the players, one of the many he coached, Steve Trout.
Well, in Trout, he was a really hard-nosed player. I mean, I think he'd be okay me saying wasn't always the biggest gifted one, but he made himself into a great player. Coach Schlossnagle helped him, saw what kind of heart he had and what kind of that ball got him.
So Powell takes one off the helmet, and he'll reach first base.
And just saw what kind of, hard-nosed, leadership quality player he was, and became a big part of that TCU program. This ball's going to hang in there and get him right on the shoulder. First, I thought he might have got him in the helmet area a little bit.
Too.
Yeah, now looked like it just got him on the say. I say just, but got him on the shoulder, which is better than obviously taking one up around the helmet area.
Either way, Powell is on, brings up the freshman Ethan Ferris. One ball, one strike. Steve Trout, 133 wins with Texas State. Coach Schlossnagle, 107 in his time with the Aggies. For his career, he's now over 900 wins. Earned that milestone victory earlier this year against Wagner. Ground ball for Ferris. Jackson comes off the mound. A flip over to first base to Burton, and one away.
I'll tell you what Jackson's been able to use tonight, Brent. That's the fifth changeup that he's used. Third time he's gotten an out on the changeup. Only missed with one or two of them command-wise. He elevated one and pulled one. That's been a good pitch for him. He's gotten two fly outs off the end of the bat, and then that ground ball squibbler back to him.
One on, one out for Chase Mora. Fouls off the first pitch behind 0-1. Moore drew a four-pitch walk, rather his first time up. You have a guy on base in Powell and a hitter here and Moore, both kind of struggling with the bat right now, but talking to Steve Trout before the game, still has the utmost confidence in these two.
Oh, they're going to figure it out. I mean, look, they're too good of players. And Davis Powell, you know, at times have been a little offensive. Ran into the ball last weekend for a homer. And yes, they're going to figure it out. They're too good of players. Brent, they're too good of baseball players. Not just hitters, baseball players.
And that was the message that Steve Trout relayed to them. He said, look, you guys through careers are like 330 hitters. You're going to be fine. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah. You got to keep putting them in there. And I like what he did tonight. He put him at the top of the order. He's going to get more at-bats, showing more confidence in him. And it's his second walk.
Yeah, two good at-bats tonight by Moore. He's on for the second time with a free ticket. So we've now seen Jackson go through the order once through. This was kind of the goal that Schlossnagle had in mind for Luke Jackson. This will lead to a mound visit here from pitching coach Max Weiner. First year with this
box on the ground.
Zane Budmeyer. What we got for Texas A&M? 2 on, 1 away. Here's Wild. A miss inside of the fastball, 1-0.
You know, not big misses, but just enough misses. He's put himself in some bad counts, Jackson.
Came back here with 92. 1 ball, 1 strike to Wild.
Obviously the miss with Powell when the ball got away from him, caught him on the shoulder, but the other misses haven't just been huge.
And Wild bunts over the top. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
You'll see him do that. I mean, because he does. He gets out of that box quick, and he's not afraid just to bunt it back towards the pitcher some because he does get out of the box so quick.
On the ground to the right side. Going to be a really tough play, and Wild beats it out. Bases loaded for the Bobcats, 1 out in the inning.
No substitute in the world for speed. And you just saw why right there. Not routine ground ball. Soft hit ground ball over the top of the secondary off-speed pitch. Rolls over the top of the changeup. And really at that point, the only chance they had was whether Jackson was going to be able to get to it.
That'll lead a change for Texas A&M. Jim Schlossnagle coming out, as will Luke Jackson out of this game. We'll step aside. Texas A&M on top by 3, but the Bobcats are threatening. Bases loaded, 1 away. And here comes Zane Budmeyer.
On the Aggie side of it, and get a strikeout.
Patino, big rip, comes up empty, 0-1.
He goes with a slider right off the bat to Patino, who was trying to ambush a fastball and drive one out of here or get a base hit. Throws him a tight, hard slider.
Last time Patino was up, hit into a 4-6-3 double play. The Bobcats have now hit into 25 of those. No team is grounded into more in the Sun Belt than Texas State. Bud Mives 0-2. Powell going opposite away. That's looping foul. No play there for Texas A&M. Bud Mives, 5 years at Tarleton, with his first year now at Texas A&M. And it's 0-2. Patino, can he check his swing? No, says Luke Hamilton at third base. Patino strikes out, huge call, and now 2 down to the inning.
Kind of the same thing Roby was doing to their left-handed hitters. He runs that inside line fastball, but it's a slider on that fastball line off of it. Hard to check that swing. On that replay, he did go.
Bud Mives, good numbers last year at Tarleton. Career highs in appearances and innings pitched. 46 Ks across 32 innings. And now he faces Aaron Lugo. Bases loaded, 2 outs.
You want to be a relief pitcher? Wake up in the morning, get on the bus, get out here, and all of a sudden the coach says, you got him. Bases loaded, 1 out. And so far he's been able to execute first pitch breakers to both hitters he's faced so far. With a chance to get out of it.
Texas State's top power hitter Lugo swings and misses. Cat runs to 0-2.
Situations you put a lot of trust in your catcher. And Appel, if he wants to try to go down in the dirt, bury a breaker.
Lugo pops it up into center. This should do it. Laviolette battling the winds, makes a catch, and the Bobcats leave him loaded. Texas State threatening there.
All right, I'm in.
I'm willing to bet those are your bed sheets.
Could be. Very well could be.
Strike 1 from Zabel facing Sorrell. Again, the Aggies have won 9 out of the past 10 of the series. The lone win for the Bobcats during that stretch, 2019. It was a 5-3 win at Bluebell Park in College Station. At the time, it was Texas State's first win at Texas A&M in 13 years. All 5 runs scored in the first inning for the Bobcats that night, highlighted by a John Wuthridge grand slam. But maybe the most unique thing about that game, over the final 3 innings, Texas State's starting rotation came in relief in innings 7, 8, and 9. Connor Reich, Nick Fraze, Hunter McMahon. Swing and a miss, strike 2.
Well, the reason was because we had weather the week before. And we played on I think we double-headered on Friday, then played on Saturday, and then something like that. There was something unusual about it. Maybe it was a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series, and we bumped up a day even or something. And so they were all coming around on their bullpen days. Well, 2 of the 3 would come around their bullpen days, Nick Fraze and Connor Reich, and then McMahon raised his hand and said, Coach, I got this too. And they all wanted to participate, get a chance to win on the road. It's been a while since we'd won. And they went out there and did the job. And we scored early and played great defense and obviously pitched. Again, we ran our 1, 2, 3 out there for the 7, 8, 9 of that game. And they helped us pull off a big win. We had a chance to beat them 5 years early and dropped the ball in right field that would have ended the game. Not dropped it, would have been a tough play, and weren't able to hang on and win.
Zabel strikes out Sorrell. He's down on strikes for the second time tonight. Great fastball location there from Zabel. Paints the inner half of the plates. 1 away.
Well, what they've done so far, Texas State pitchers, they've tried to stay on that inner half of the fastball and that breaker on that same line. And they've had some success. That's 2 punch-outs looking for them so far against those left-handed hitters in the Aggies lineup.
Now Targac. Nobody on, 1 out in the 4th. And ball 1 from Peyton Zabel.
Well, I mean, it's good stuff. It's always been good. I mean, it's 93 to 95. Brant, that downhill fastball, he gets his hand up above the baseball, drives it downhill, creating angle.
We talked about Roby earlier. His role has shifted during his time at Texas State. Same can be said for Zabel, too. He's been a midweek starter, then reliever. This year, started the season in the weekend rotation, back to the bullpen, back to midweek starter, back to the bullpen once again.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's been a lot of different things. You could almost say the same thing about Ryan Targac, who's played probably just about every infield position so far. Maybe not short, but he's played a lot of different positions for the Aggies. Off to a slow start for them, but a guy that has played a lot of great baseball for them.
They've had a number of players play the second base position this year. Targac, one of them.
Yeah, I think they've gone through 4 different guys trying to find that combination that works best for them. But the good news for them is they've got good-looking players that are running out there each time they pick the next guy.
That ball hit pretty well towards center field. Long run for Weil. And again, the Wind pushing that one in. On a more hitter-friendly day, that ball might reach the gap. It's an out here with 2 outs in the 4th inning.
Yeah, Cameron Weil does a good job of breaking on his ball, opening up, kind of catch that thing on his right shoulder. Then he realizes that the wind kind of knocked it down and took a step forward right as the ball went into the glove.
Grahovac is 1 for 2. A double and a strikeout facing Zabel for the first time. Up the middle and scorches a base hit in the center. Wasting no time against Peyton Zabel.
Now, they haven't swung at a lot of first pitches so far tonight. That time he did. If you're going to do it, that ball was in the heart of the plate. I mean, it was the right choice. Obviously, he gets a hit out of it, but hitting in front of Laviolette is important too, because it allows him, if you do successful, particularly in this situation, to allows one of your bigger home run hitters, obviously, to have a chance.
Well, think of the line of protection these 3 provide for one another, right? You got Laviolette hitting behind Grahovac, Montgomery behind him, Appel behind Montgomery. It's hard as a pitcher to really just go after a guy. Or pitch around somebody.
You can't. It's hard to, because your next answer is a tough answer to it. And to me, the guy that anchors that, obviously these two with Laviolette and Montgomery are the guys, right? And Grahovac, those are the guys. But when you're looking at Appel's the guy kind of anchoring that top of that order, right? Because you could try to maybe escape 1 or 2 of them.
Popped up and no play for Ramirez.
I mean, you could try to navigate through that, walk a guy here and there with 2 outs and, and skip around one or pitch tough to another or inadvertently pitch around. But then you got Jackson Appel just sitting here that, 338, 3-4. I mean, it just, to me, he creates that backboard for them and almost forces you to have to pitch to these guys.
Laviolette hitless tonight, 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Zabel deals a 1-2. That's low, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Laviolette preseason first team All-SEC. Was a freshman All-American a year ago. Look at that Bobcat shift again. Got Moore playing deep in the hole at second base and shallow right field. Laviolette smashes that one foul. Count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Get a look at his breaker and how big the breaker is from Zabel. And coming out of that big frame, that breaker covers a lot of ground. I mean, it's a little bit, 82, 78 to 82 at times.
You got a case of it right now. You have a full count to Laviolette. Montgomery's on deck. Tough spot here for Peyton Zabel. Head start for Grahovac, and that's high and tight. Inning extends for a second straight batter. A 2-out single from Grahovac, who walked to Laviolette. Here comes Montgomery.
Just to your point, we were talking just a minute ago about him, and the top half of this order is so intense, and it's right, left, switch. Right. I mean, there's not a plan where you go in there and go, okay, when we get to that, we're going to go right to our left-handed guy. We're going to stay with our slider right guy. They create both sides of the plate balance.
Montgomery shoots that one foul on the pull side. The Bobcats actually saw Montgomery. He was a freshman at Stanford. Texas State played the Cardinal in the Stanford Regional back in 2022.
Yeah, he came in, he hit that regional and then came in and pitched that night as well. I mean, a good arm. It's a 95, 96 mile an hour arm off the mound.
Was the Gatorade High School Player of the Year in Mississippi in 2021. Pac-12 Freshman of the Year, Stanford in 2022. Second team All-American last year. 1 ball, 1 strike from Zabel.
He continues on this path. These accolades are going to pile up for him for what he's done so far this year.
One and two. The guys who got right now involved. The hitter, Montgomery, the 2 on base. Potentially all high-round draft picks. In the case of Montgomery, could easily be a first-rounder this summer.
Oh, yes.
Easily.
Yes. I'll take him. I'll pick him. I can tell you that. I've seen a bunch of him.
Appel waits on deck. 2 strikes from Zabel. Punch foul again by Montgomery.
I saw him early in the year hit a ball left-handed out of the park, Globe Life, and he came up and launched one right-handed that almost knocked a hole in the ceiling at Globe Life and that upper deck. I mean, just, it's hard to find guys with that kind of power on both sides of the plate.
Montgomery towards right center field. That's down for a base hit. Grahovac around third. Laviolette around third. And this is a 4 RBI night for Braden Montgomery. Texas A&M on top 6-1.
Well, he just keeps delivering over and over and over. It's a fastball in. It's got good angle to it, Brent, but he's so good. He can cover up so much. He's got such unreal flexibility in the box. The bat head stays on plane. He understands where his bat head is. And, I mean, he just absolutely splits that gap. And, again, it's hard to go find hitters anywhere in college baseball that have the abilities to do what he's doing right now in the game.
He's up to 51 RBI in the year.
My goodness.
And now Pell, who's 2 for 2. All the damage for the Aggies in the 4th inning with 2 outs. You think about that if you're Zabel. You get through Sorrell and Targac, bases empty, 2 down. First pitch, Grahovac sees, singles up the middle. Can't put away Laviolette, walked him. 2 strikes, Montgomery drives them both in.
That's why that top is so dangerous.
Swing and a miss. Able to put away Appel here on that wipeout breaking ball. Second strikeout for Zabel, but Braden Montgomery delivers again. With 2 outs, he drives in 2 with another double.
Loves to shape that ball up and hit it right back through the middle, just like Coach Trout teaches and likes to see.
And we'll see Galloway 3rd of the inning. Preceding him, Dalen Pena and August Ramirez. Pena Behind the count 0-1. Second inning of relief for Zane Budmeyer. Payne with a high fly to left. Hit pretty well, but again with the wind blowing in, that ball stays in the park. And Payne is 0 for 2.
I think he caught that ball off the end of the bat. He took a good swing at it, a big swing at it. Yes, I think the wind held it up. Got a little bit off the edge of the bat, but he's staying lined up. He loves when he's hot, Brent. You know this. He loves to hit those balls right at the flags and left center, staying gap to gap.
Nobody on, one away for August Ramirez. Ramirez homered off of Jackson back in the second for the Bobcats' only run. And ahead against Budmeyer, 1 ball and no strikes. Texas State just 2 midweek home games left after tonight against Texas next week and against Incarnate Word April 23rd. 1 ball, 1 strike. You got a shot of the shift that the Aggies have here against Ramirez. You'll notice that there is nobody anywhere near third base right now.
No, and they would say, well, why wouldn't you bunt? Well, they could probably let him. He doesn't hold a whole lot of experience drag bunting. If you want him to try to hit a ball the other way, you can. It takes his power swing away sometimes if he's trying to hit a ground ball over that way. Now, he drives balls into those net. Opposite field homers, but sometimes those power hitters, if they try to hit a ball down the third baseline, they decelerate their barrels some where that opening is that you're looking at.
Two, and Ramirez can't check his swing. He strikes out. 4 up, 4 down for Budmeyer out of the bullpen, and 2 away in the 4th.
Well, just an old school elevated heater. Ramirez, see elevated fastball, gets excited. Hard to hold that barrel up back, wasn't able to. Got it moving, strike 3.
Well, now you have a couple of former Bernie Greyhounds matching up with each other. Budmeyer and Galloway. Fouled away by Galloway here, no balls and a strike.
Yeah, they know a little bit about each other, I'm sure. Age difference a little bit, but still, you're playing a high school program that's successful and good. You know even the upperclassmen who were before you, the history of the program, the players, coaches, championships, everything that goes with it.
Galloway right up the middle, bangs the base hit into center. And that hitting streak of his extends to 9 games with a 2-out single.
We were talking about him coming out of the inning break. You better heads up if you're a pitcher when that young man's at the plate, because I'm going to tell you right now, a bunch of his hits are right back through the middle like he just lined it up again.
Budmeyer's final year, Bernie, 2018. For Galloway's final year was 2022. And here's Davis Powell. 6-1 game, Aggies on top here, the 4th inning. And ball 1 to Powell. Jim Schlosnagel's first year in College Station, after all those years in Fort Worth with TCU, guided the Aggies to the College World Series. Brought them to Omaha in 2022 for the first time since 2017. Asked him before the game, how does this year's team compare to that team 2 years ago? And he said, time will tell, but this year's team, top to bottom, more talented.
I think there's more talent, more prospects. And Budmeyer coming in after missing with a 1-0 breaker. He run the count 2-0, comes back with a 2-0 breaker that hits the corner. Yeah, I think there's yes. I mean, you got high draft picks out there just roaming the outfield. You got there's just more talent to it. Yeah, but how is it going to turn out? That's the fun part of this.
Wanted foul by Powell, 2-2. A year ago, the Aggies finished 5th in the SEC West. Finished the year with 38 wins. They're already 13 shy of tying last year's win total, sitting at 25-3.
Well, when A&M went to go find a new head coach, they want to go find a guy who has a plan to get to Omaha. Jim Schlossnagle does. It's an executed plan. It's a confident plan. And then he was able to execute it and get him to Omaha, which is what he's been able to do.
Powell strikes out. Third strikeout for Bud Mine. And the tough stretch continues for Davis. Road half of the fifth inning with the Aggies on top by 5.
His job is just to hold it right there. You got to have an opportunity. Relief corps got to put up a handful of zeros, let your offense have a chance to crawl back in this. They've used Wofford in so many different ways. Into the game, middle of the game. Everybody has that multi-purpose guy they want to run at when the game gets tight in different directions, and he's been successful for him this year.
He's gotten them out of some jams.
He has, many times.
A couple of midweek games ago, Texas State trying to close out a game against longtime rival UTSA. Roadrunners at 2-1 in a one-run game. The Bobcats needed just that 27th and final out. And Matthew Tippie was laboring on the mound, so Steve Trout made a change, brought in Wofford to face UTSA's top 2 hitters, and got him out.
He did. When he's right, that changeup is good. A small breaker, not an overpowering fastball. It's an 86, 88 mile an hour fastball, but again, when he gets ahead, his idea is to get that barrel slowed down to the hitters off of his changeup and his secondary.
Leadoff walk for Ted Burton.
The designated hitter number
Brings up
5,
Hayden Shot here
Davis
for the
Lance.
Aggies. Bobcats on the road this weekend for 3 games at Marshall. It was a series Texas State swept a year ago at home. Thundering her 9-18 this season. And playing in a brand new ballpark in Huntington, West Virginia, where the Bobcats will play Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Well, the first thing I would have done as a coach, check the weather first, then the stat sheet and their lineup card.
Rolls to the backstop, 90 more feet for Burton. He'll go to second base. Of course you would say that, Ty.
Yep.
Two balls, no strikes.
I hadn't been able to execute that changeup yet. He's hit a 76 mile an hour changeup. And he likes to try to get ahead with a breaker, fastball, and then get to the changeup unless it's an RBI situation. And
right now, Wofford struggling to find the strike zone. You asked about the weather. The high on Friday for the opener is 48. The low is 33.
Oh, I didn't ask about it. I just said I would have asked.
Oh, I see. I took that as if you were asking.
I'm going to let Coach Stout and then worry about it.
3-1.
Well, this is one of those moments. You got a big pitch coming to you. You got a base open, but you're chasing runs if you're Texas State.
Back-to-back walks and a wild pitch as well. Burton goes to third base. Runners in the corners. Nobody out for Texas A&M here in the 5th.
Let's see what the Aggies choose to do here at the lower third of the order. Against and played against. And, you know, Coach Johnson, and it is a historic baseball program. They've had a lot of great players, won a lot of different championships. Obviously, the crowd, when you go in there, you know that's part of the game. It's hard to play there because of the crowd and how loud it is, and their chants, the ball fours, the bubbles. You see Kelly Danfaust, the president of Texas State now, and He's done an unbelievable job as well, but it is.
2 on, nobody out. Caden Sorrell so far 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts. Talked about what's on deck for the Bobcats, the conference series in Marshall. The Aggies will head out to South Carolina for a 3-game series against the Gamecocks.
You know, I have not been there. At all the years I've been in college baseball, 35 some years, whatever it might be, I've not been to South Carolina. I mean, the state I have, but to,
yes.
And obviously a historic baseball program, won national titles, beautiful ballpark. I've seen pictures. I've had friends that have coached there, been on the staff there. Just never worked out that way.
(3-1) fired in by Bush and fouled away. Fills the count 3-2.
That was one of those 3-1 elevated fastballs he thought he was going to be able to get to. Sorrell couldn't quite get to the middle of it. Cam Bush doing a pretty good job coming in with an active count at 2-0, getting the count back to 3-2.
Shot and Camarillo, the runners on base. That's grounded just foul to the right of the bag at first.
And one of the changes for, we don't know what's going to happen now because he came in at 2-0 count, but for Cameron Bush, his walk ratio has gone way down. I mean, he's thrown a lot more strikes, been able to throw breakers in 3-2 counts, which he just threw right there.
Here gives up a walk, although that'll be credited to Wofford. Bases loaded, nobody out. After Targott's top of the order coming up, and A&M has a chance to really break this game open.
Yeah, that's tough. When you come in an active count with 2-0, and he threw 3 strikes, threw a 3-2 breaker, he fouled it off, wasn't able to execute the fastball away right there in a 3-2 count.
Targott looks at strike 1. A couple of years ago, Targott's second team All-SEC, 294 that year. When the Yankees went to Omaha, hit 15 homers, drove in 58. It hasn't been the same hitter since. Fouled away, strike 2.
That happens in college baseball. Happens in pro baseball. You see guys all the time have MVP years or have, unreal years, and then it just, you get off to a slow start, your confidence change, you start doing, there's a lot of different factors and ingredients into that. And then sometimes all of a sudden in the middle of a moment, bam, you hit one and you're off and running. And if we all knew what the secret sauce was, we'd be some really wealthy people. If we all knew we could just throw some magic dust on them and go, here we go.
1-2 from Bush. Drop in the off-speed pitch there, misses low. 2-2.
Texas State right here, you trade 2 for 1, meaning a double play for 1 run scored. They don't even know they're in a pull side positioning infield-wise. They'd love to try to turn a double play.
Popped up by Targott. No play for Lugo at third. He did start all 3 games in the Auburn series. A couple of doubles against the Tigers in a series the Aggies swept to improve to 6-3 in SEC play. Dropped their first series in conference play at Florida, but have since won their last 2 against Mississippi State and Auburn. That ball drilled towards the gap in right center field. Targott's got a hold of that, and it's off the bottom of the wall. 1 run is in, 2 runs are in. Texas A&M 9, Texas State 1. Ryan Targott, another double for the Aggies.
We're talking about one of those swings, one of those moments maybe he's been building up to tonight, and a guy who's an experienced hitter. And Brant, that any other day, if that wind's blowing out today with a south wind, that ball's going to be out of the ballpark. Puts a great swing on it. scores 2 of the runners. It got kind of crowded out there because the base runners really couldn't tell if outfielders weren't going to be able to get to it or not because of the wind.
That ball smoked to left field. Grahovac going to drive in 2 more for Texas A&M. He has 3 hits. A couple of runs brought home and a 10-run lead for the Aggies.
Well, if you look at the beginning of the inning, you had 3 walks involved there, 2 wild pitches, and then you give these guys a chance, this Aggie lineup, they can hit. And you give Targac now a chance. He gets going in that bottom half of the lineup with that double, and then Grahovac, who's been doing it all year long. I mean, he's been lacing balls to left field from the very first pitch of the year.
Some of the Aggie fans brought the bubbles with him, and they're blowing right now. 11-1, Texas A&M, 5 runs in the inning. When this lineup will just beat you down. And when the bottom order produces, good luck.
I mean, they're just handing the baton off to, the final leg of a mile relay. Seems like when you go to the top of the order.
Two-0 to Laviolette. Over 2 with a walk and a run score for the Aggies tonight. Now the count 2-1.
Those are those pitches they're so good at right now. That edge pitch, 50-50, whether it's ball strike, a pitch that if you go after, you're not really going to get after it very well. It allows them to get to maybe another pitch they can handle and drive.
Good job that time, Bush, taking that fastball on the outer half of the plate. Gets a strike called. It's 2-2. Montgomery waiting on deck. A&M has scored in every inning but the second. Laviolette, 3 hits over the weekend against Auburn. Added to his home run total on Friday. Game the Aggies won 12-8, 2-2, and Laviolette strikes out for the second time. And that is the first out of the inning.
Another USCU strikeout. Let's hang another K in the Texas State K zone.
Just got under his hands.
Yep, got it right into there. Same thing they've been doing for a lot of the hitters, left-handed hitters, trying to throw that little cutter or breaker or slider underneath the barrel.
Number 6, Braden Montgomery.
He was able to execute it again with 2 strikes.
Braden Montgomery, 2 hits, a home run, a double, 4 RBI. Just another night of the office for this guy.
It's not that easy. It is not. But that just tells you how special this young man is as a baseball player. And again, going back to, I've talked to Coach Schlossnagle a couple times about this young man and just how he has fit in and just became part of the fabric of this team.
On the ground, there's a play at second, and a first drop by Patino. Bobcats have been so good turning double plays this year. Only get the 1 out on the forced play at second, 2 away in the inning. That'll bring up Jackson Appel.
Well, they do a good job of making the transition. Lugo filling the ball first and then throwing it over. The opportunity on the pivot to get it over there. It looked like he just tried to stretch too early, maybe, Brent, and wasn't able to come up with a ball.
9th batter of the inning for Texas A&M. These midweek games aren't easy. Texas A&M making it look that way tonight. But you're battling every week. Just last night in the SEC, LSU losing at home to Southern. They have not lost
baseball.
They have not lost any focus in this game tonight, coming out that hard-fought series, using a lot of pitching over the weekend against Auburn. The pitchers they've used tonight, albeit only 2, Jackson and Bud Mive, have been good in the lineup doing what they do. Oh, and 2 to Appel. Now 1 ball and 2 strikes. And again, you talk about a team roaring out of the gate. A&M started the year 17-0.
Yeah, I had 4 of their games early in February. 3 at Globe Life and then radio in Austin, and every game they keep showing, flexing their muscles.
Yeah.
I mean, offensively. And then the pitching part of it too. I mean, again, I don't want to run away from that. Their starting pitching, their Friday, Saturday, Sunday starting pitching has been just, seeing tap that ball foul, has been really, really good. You know, the numbers show it. You've got enough guys, you know, relief-wise that, I mean, Aschenbach has been unreal for them. He is. You know, that first weekend, he went, you know, the last 3 innings, and the next time, I mean, you look up, every time it's a big game, you look up and that left-hander's out there getting it done.
Hit to right field. And coming in Ferris to make the catch well in front of the track. Appel retired, but the Aggies put up 5 in the inning. That lead is Ferris to start the 5th inning. Ferris looks at a ball up. Morton 1-0 in 6 appearances this year. 4 of those in relief. 11 to the 3rd for Morton. 21 Ks, 8 walks. Ground ball hit by Ferris to 3rd. Rehovac 1 away here in the 5th inning.
That's kind of a 3/4 arm action. Grant with a really fast, quick hand. Fastball shapes up, moving left to right with that 2-seamer. Breakers obviously moving right to left, away from right-handed hitters. Takes just enough off of them to get him out front. And again, I think he's trying to get in that mode of what they try to use philosophy-wise at Texas A&M is dominate the zone.
Nice play first, made by Burton. Moore retired for the first time. 2 quick outs for Isaac Morton. You think about the first two pitchers that the Aggies use, kind of a split start between Jackson and Bud Mive. Those two combining for 4 innings, 1 run, 3 hits, and 3 Ks.
Yeah.
Exactly what Jim Schlossnagle wanted.
He talked at the beginning of the year about how they walked so many. They threw so many pitches last year, and so many balls, and they needed a change. And their philosophy now, you read it time and time again, to dominate the zone that Max Weiner's brought with him, and you're seeing results of it. Look, they've got the numbers behind it. And what did he tell us that day? 90-some-odd% of the very first pitches you throw, if it's a strike, you get it back into your glove again, with either an out or a strike. Mm-hmm. And you start thinking about that, and they start, living that philosophy, and living behind that, and committing to it emotionally, physically. You see a good look at Jim there. I mean, they bought into it so far this year.
2-2 to Weil. An infield base hit his last time up. He's been on base 21 times over his last 8+ games. Weil checks his swing. The count fills 3-2.
Well, it's a good breaker. How Cameron Weil laid off of that, I have no idea. He kind of moved that barrel just a little bit, but, well, yeah, attack that breaker running in.
Fights it off, but pops it up and diving to make the play at third. Rehovac. This freshman can do it all for Texas A&M. The Aggies flash.
Right there.
Taylor Seam into the game now, out of the bullpen for the Bobcats. Burton shots Camarillo coming up for the Aggies in the 6th inning, leading 11-1. And from C, 2 balls, no strikes, and a fastball at 92. Yeah, JMU opening weekend snuck a game in Fayetteville, which is not an easy thing to do.
No, it's
not. They won the 3rd game, had a chance to come out to Fayetteville with a 4-game split, but the Razorbacks won the finale. And they have been the best team in the country ever since.
If you sneak one out of Fayetteville, you better take off running with it. It's hard to do.
Fouled away, 3-2. Here's a wild stat for you. LSU is the reigning national champion. The last two national championship teams out of the SEC, the following year, that reigning champion finished last in the conference the next year.
Got him.
And Burton is on for the second time, hit by a pitch by C. And that'll lead off the 6th inning.
Well, some of that is because you have an older team. If you're going to go win a national championship, it's not unusual to have an older, experienced team, and because of that, or high draft pick, because you won your last man standing. I don't know if anybody knows how hard that is to be the last one standing. It is incredibly hard, so you got to have really good, gifted players. Usually you have older, experienced kids, and all of a sudden you have tremendous turnover. And it's hard. I mean, it is. And then all of a sudden you look up, you lost 3/4 of your team. You're glad you won a national title, because, again, it's hard to do. But you lose the nucleus of it, and you kind of got to start all over again more times than not.
Aside from seed 2-0.
Now, I would say this nowadays, if that does have, you do have tremendous turnover, the way the portal's set up, it gives you a chance that next year to go to the portal and bring some older players to replace them if that's how you choose to do it.
Earlier today, Ty, you talk about the top conferences in college baseball. SEC is the top dog right now. The ACC is right there as well. The top 20 RPI spots, all but 2 occupied by teams from those 2 conferences.
Yeah, the ACC has always been a good baseball conference. The SEC obviously speaks for itself, and yeah, I mean, look, you get from about this part of the state and move east, and then those big conferences and all beautiful facilities, resources, all those things that are handy and moving forward and having great baseball programs, great universities, great academic institutions, places to live. But man, you're right. I mean, I talked about earlier, I mean, that's 3/4 of the top teams right now are in those 2 conferences.
Swing and a miss, shot down on strikes, retired for the first time tonight. First punch out from C. So the only 2 teams in the top 20 RPI not from one of those 2 conferences, UC Irvine and Coastal Carolina from the Sun Belt.
Yep, that's right. And then, you know, I tell people, April is the month you move. You've already moved some to get here, so you've already in that thought process. You've had success. You're winning games. People are thinking about you. You're ranked. Maybe you're on the edge. But April's when you move. Your freshmen are no longer freshmen at that point. Your inexperience has experience. Your experience that may be struggling maybe starts to figure it out. Maybe like a Targach or somebody like that starts to figure it out. And then April is when you really got to start moving.
You know, so you think top 20 RPI, it sees ahead 0-2 against Camarillo. You have to be, top 20 RPI gets you in the conversation to host a regional. Is it possible all 16 sites could be occupied by SEC and ACC teams?
I mean, I don't know. I was asked that question. Good-looking breaker right there. Good-looking breaker. I don't know. I mean, again, that goes to my experience in April. April is the month you move and things start to change. If you're a team laying on the edge of that top 20, this is when you got to get going. And then the last piece of that, Brent, April is when people have been hurt, get a chance to come back. And then it's also, unfortunately, times when guys start to peel out and get hurt. And then what does your team look like at the end of April?
Strike 1 to Sorrell. Taylor C. back-to-back strikeouts, shot in Camarillo. Looking to hang up a donut after the Aggies scored 5 in the 5th inning. In the air to left field. Pena going back at the track, at the wall. Can't make the catch. Rounding third, Burton. And Burton's going to score for a second time tonight. Into third with a triple is Sorrell. The Aggies' second triple of the game.
I'll tell you what, they have just absolutely shown off tonight with their off-field power, Brant. Left-handed hitters, right-handed hitters, everybody just having the ability to sit in behind balls, get in behind them, even with the wind blowing like it is, and still drive ball out of the park or into the gaps.
Again, we've talked up hitters 1 through 4 at length tonight for Texas A&M, but Schott, Camarillo, Sorrell, Targac, you go 6 through 9. They've been really, really good. And if they're going to hit, it becomes nearly impossible to beat this team. 2 balls and no strikes to Targac.
It certainly makes it tough. And then again, you're passing the baton to that top half of that lineup with RBI moments and opportunities.
3 balls, no strikes. Grahovac awaits on deck. Talk about some of these Aggie players destined to be drafted and high. 3 draft picks for the Aggies this past summer. A couple of 8-rounders, 8th rounders, and a 15th rounder as Targac walking 4 pitches. Some of the higher draft picks in recent memory, recent history. Braden Shoemake, tremendous infielder. 21st overall to the Braves in 2019. Asa Lacy, 4th overall to the Royals in 2020.
Yeah, that Shoemake, his father played for me as a young assistant coach at Arkansas State. His dad is a longtime college baseball coach. University of Dallas, and they've had a lot of high draft.
From San Marcos, only about 2, maybe 2.5 hours away. Easy to get from one park to the other. Pinch hitter, that's going to be it for Grahovac in his big night. The Aggies will send up Caden Kent, the sophomore out of Austin. A lot of baseball fans here probably recognize that last name. His dad, Jeff Kent, former big league all-star, played with the Astros, and a former National League MVP with the San Francisco Giants. Now, if you couldn't tell who was cheering for who, if you look at the stands and the chants right now, you probably have a pretty good idea.
Yeah. It's definitely a separation of the room through the echoes, if you see it there, of the chant. And we're talking about Jeff Kent and, different players' dads in college baseball. We were talking about how if it's in your living room, it gets passed down. It does. I mean, they see their dads and the people around them a lot of times have the same type of mannerism, athleticism. And then you talk baseball and you go out in the backyard and it's a part of your lifestyle. It's a part of your life. You can have such a huge and a fun impact on your children as they move forward, and which is exactly what Caden has done himself.
And Kent draws a walk to load him up. So the night done for Grahovac, but Laviolette still in this game for Texas A&M. And a chance here to play add-on for the Aggies. Been a relatively quiet night for Laviolette. First pitch swinging here, pops it up into left. Pena battling the winds, makes a catch, and the Aggies strand 3. But another run in. Caden Sorrell, that RBI triple. It is 12-1. First pitch, Patino skies one towards right, and coming in is Montgomery. Patino's 0 for 3. One away here in the 6th inning.
The third baseman, number 1, Aaron Lugo.
Brings up Aaron Lugo. Todd, I talked about Texas A&M's trip to Globe Life. Got a couple of wins over Arizona State, another over USC. Bobcats have played in a big league park this year as well, Minute Maid Park in Houston. And Lugo, the hero against Texas that weekend. A 2-out, 2-run homer in the top of the 9th to the Crawford boxes. And a come from behind win over the Longhorns.
That's one of those, you don't ever forget those moments. That's what makes college athletics and sports and being a part of something, a team where it's important. University, it's important, fan base.
Lugo here hit. He's on for the first time.
Looked like that breaker just popped out of his hand too quick. Get another look at. Got him right in that quad area is what it looked like, but it was a breaker.
Number 7, Daylen Pena.
Daylen Pena's 0 for 2. That's a 23-game on-base streak going. It is the 11th longest in team history over the past 21 years. The longest streak during that stretch, a 36-game on-base streak for Kyle Anson in 2005.
Yep. Switch hitter, catcher, third baseman. Ended up playing in the Yankees organization for a while.
That gets away from Appel. And Lugo over to second base.
And now a pastor in Tennessee. He's going to get Coach Schwartz from Nebraska. And it'll be good for Chris. Chris is really good. He big part of what they've done here at Texas State prior to him going on his own journey, and now Donnie taking over as the AD, and it's been fun to watch the two of them.
Can't help but think that the selection committees for the NCAA tournament had a little bit of a wink and a nod.
Maybe so.
Right?
Yeah, they can do that. They have a way of doing that. It happened to us one time at Arkansas State. Bill Mathey and I, a longtime assistant at Texas. We go to Arkansas State when the Sun Belt, where do they send us? Austin. So yeah, they have a way of doing that. Creates fans.
Yeah.
Right? Interest.
A&M men and women both facing Nebraska in the first round of the NCAA basketball tournaments. Texas A&M's men had a great run, beat the Cornhuskers and pushed Houston to overtime in a round of 32 game. 3-1 to Pena. That ball slicing towards the opposite field, and that is foul just outside the line. A long strike for Pena, and robbed of a double.
The elements robbed him of a double. That wind's cutting in from center, that ball slicing Brant from left to right off the right-handed hitter. When you go the other way, there's no doubt in my mind that wind, as you see it right there coming off those flags, push that ball just far enough to the right and foul. That ball was hit hard.
And Pena's been a good doubles hitter this year. 11, third most in the Sun Belt. Full count from Morton after a discussion with his head coach, Jim Schlossnagle. Deals a 3-2 and Pena lays off, and that'll extend the on-base streak now to 24 in a row.
Well, there's a second half of why that young man has been so successful over this whole season, but particularly over the last month and a half. That's a tough breaker, Brant. You just slashed the ball close to a double. You really want to get back in there and hit. And I mean, he throws a big-time wrinkle curve or breaker in there. And what do? You lay off of it, and you take your walk. You don't chase it.
2 on, 1 away for August Ramirez. That rolls away from Appel. Both runners advance. Now to second and third.
Don't see that happen very often with Appel. He's so good back there. Does such a good job of working with those pitchers.
Big swing and a miss by Ramirez. 1 ball, 1 strike. And our first train of the night. Moving down the tracks as we move on here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Brent Freeman, Ty Harrington. A 12-1 game. Ramirez cuts and misses. 1 and 2. That last ball that went to the backstop charged to Appel on a pass ball. RBI chance here for Ramirez, trying to cut into an 11-run lead.
showing a picture of that train. Of course, the Texas State fans are used to those trains coming by all the time, and so are the Aggie fans. Those trains that roll through there is just the same, and part of baseball in both of these ballparks.
That one gets away. Lugo's going to score. Bobcats with a nice journey around the bases, courtesy of 2 wild pitches and a pass ball.
That ball was out of the zone far enough. I don't think Appel was going to be able to get to it. Just got away from him arm side. Just kept tailing away from him. He wasn't able to get up there to get to it.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Ramirez going opposite way, and that's going to drift foul. Earlier in the game, Ramirez hit his 19th career home run, 5th of this season. The count even here from Morton, another big miss. A good play by Appel, 3-2.
Yeah, that was a good play. That one wasn't as high as the one before on the wild pitch. He was able to get his glove to, then shift over and basically dive and make a diving catch.
And the full count, Morton delivers. Ramirez spoils a foul.
He's had more command, truthfully, Brand, of his breaker than he's had command of his fastball.
This is the 3rd game of the year for the Bobcats against the SEC. They played Kentucky and LSU so far. Coming up short against both. And Ramirez is on with a walk. A hit batter, 2 walks, 2 wild pitches and a pass ball. The offense for the Bobcats in the 6th inning.
I'm not going to be surprised at this point after the couple of those pitches getting away and the miss, the size of the misses. Those aren't little misses. Those are some bigger misses. And the last one was a small miss, but you had a handful of big misses in there. I got to think that's going to probably get the bullpen stirring for the Aggies.
And now Texas State's hottest hitter, Rashawn Galloway. And time is called by Appel.
This is part of let's go get somebody loose, allow them to have enough time. You know, if you really 80s, Bonds, that list is long.
Strike 1 to Galloway.
Let's see a sidearm with Period. His job here is to come in, throw strikes, try to induce a ground ball, slow the inning down, minimize it.
A&M did have some defensive changes, by the way, when the inning started. Targot's now at first base. Jack Bell playing it at second. And Caden Kinn at third. 2 balls, 1 strike to Galloway.
Well, hitters are only hitting 095 off of it, period. But if there is a little bit of interest, it is that it's 6 walks in 10 innings. That's a little over 1 in every other.
A chopper up the middle. Camarillo makes a play to 6-3 Twin Killing. And that is a 6 double play that Galloway has hit into this year.
They are trending. I'm sorry. They have been trending for the whole season in the right way.
We go to the top of the 7th. Montgomery leading off here for the Aggies. On top by 10. Don Buckingham, the 2nd inning of work. You know, earlier you talked about the trains, kind of a part of both ballparks. They have train tracks that go behind the outfield fences. Texas State taking it a step further with the caboose down the first base line. The Bobcat Express. A lot of the VIPs taking in some baseball over there. Had a chance to visit with Chuck Box, the Director of Player and Program Development with Texas A&M. He was really impressed with that train caboose suite the Bobcats have here.
Well, it's one of a kind. Tim West, when they did that, we decided to try to build something unique and different. I think Jim West's only thought was, or question was, does anybody else have one? And when he said we said we didn't, when they didn't, he was like, I'm in. And then now it's become an attraction. It's a great place to watch a game. And you see Montgomery grab a walk. I mean, it's just it's a unique place in college baseball. And I think it kind of, truthfully, I think it adds to the aura of college baseball, to be honest with you.
4-pitch walk to Montgomery.
Pitch hitter number 11, Max Crawford.
And a pinch hitter up for the Aggies. Jackson Appel called back. Here's Max Crawford, sophomore out of Medford, New Jersey. Interesting story for Crawford. Was a late enrollee at A&M last year. Started the final 24 games behind the plate for the Aggies. Did so as the youngest player in the nation. But with the emergence of Appel, has only made 6 starts this season for Texas A&M.
I mean, Appel's played so good, Brent. He's hit from both sides of the plate, handled the pitching staff. You know, they were trying to get that turned around on the mound for the Aggies, and he's, you know, catching is part of the engine of the pitcher. I mean, it was great catchers, are good at keeping those pitchers locked in, helping them find their, you know, way to success and to succeed. When to get busy with them, he didn't get out there. And, you know, we saw a great catcher from Louisiana this weekend, Torres, and
back-to-back walks. Yeah, for Bobcat pitching, a lot of free passes given up in this game. That is now 8 walks surrendered by the staff, and Steve Trout going to come out and likely make a change.
amongst other reasons.
So Bannon starts off Jack Bell with a pitch up. First at bat tonight for Bell, a freshman out of Corpus Christi Ray High School. So far 2 for 9 to the plate this year. Now permanent opponents have been announced as well. Each team has 3 permanent opponents they'll face every year in the SEC, and of course Texas and A&M will be facing each other every year moving forward.
Yeah, it's healthy. I mean, obviously it'll be in baseball, in football, different facilities each time, like, you know, home and home. But I mean, and for A&M, their other one is LSU. Now you understand why they want to add more stadium and kind of renovate Bluebell and put outfield bleachers out there, because look, if you got those 2 teams coming, could you imagine how many people want to get into that stadium?
Yeah.
I mean, adding another however many seats if they do.
On the ground, a second. Moore, Powell, Patino on a 4-6-3 twin killing for Texas State. First double play of the game, turned by the Bobcats defensively, and the 29th of the year.
Well, they've done such a good job all year long of turning double plays, and sometimes you get in a game like this, Brent, you can lose a little bit of defensive focus. You look around at the scoreboard. You came into the game with so much excitement, then you look up, all of a sudden you're down 10, and Moore does a good job of setting that double play up, getting to the baseball, making a nice feed, and it was Powell finishing it.
Another pinch hitter for the Aggies, Hank Barr, senior out of Parker, Colorado, hitting in the spot of Hayden Schott here in the 7th inning.
His family's big leaguers and coaches too.
Blocked by Ramirez. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I just think when you know, from an Aggie perspective, what that looks like to have those 2 teams, one of them for sure, I would think they would alternate, you know, Texas there 1 year, then you're on the road to LSU, but maybe not. You may land both of them at the same year. I haven't seen that yet, but from a crowd perspective, and just how big the university is now at Texas A&M, and the population of the university and the surrounding area, and I mean, I used to say, look, Aggies could have a domino contest, and there's a bunch of them going to come and watch and cheer it on. That's just how it is.
You talked of the renovation to this ballpark at length. Of course, you were a big part of that in 2009 when the renovations happened. Discussions about adding even more up the third base line.
You bet.
A proposed project that will cost about $8 million. Currently trying to fundraise for that. That's found a way by Bard 3 and 2. Well, you think about Bluebell Park and what it replaced an old Olsen Field. And as you said, even as good as that ballpark is right now, one of the best ones in the country, they're trying to renovate in College Station.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, let's take a step back. You were talking about Texas State and what they're trying to do renovating-wise, and just the discussion of and having the plans to go add $8 million to.
On the ground to the right side, Mora flips it to a covering O'Bannon, and it is time to stretch.
Tough road to hoe, but a lot of different things that, you know, even when you're chasing runs. Baseball players, when you ask them at the game's up, they'll tell you, no way, I got a shot. I've got a chance. If the lights are on and it's still within the innings, you always feel like you got a chance. It's something that this great game does teach you, by the way. You always feel like you got a chance at whatever it is in life you're trying to do, but you're chasing a bunch of them, and sometimes in these moments, you find things. Your hitters find stuff. They find something they're looking for. You know, Davis Powell's been trying to get back on a streak. Sometimes you find an arm that you haven't been using as much. You put out there, and all of a sudden he gains some confidence. Both sides, by the way. You know, A&M's getting a chance to probably run some guys out there as well.
Good pitch from Peary, and Powell down on strikes for the second time tonight. And Ty, you were discussing the renovations the Bobcats are trying to raise funds for here at Bobcat Ballpark.
Yeah, and look, it's the way college baseball, and the beauty of it to me, it just signifies just how popular and how important college baseball is today. And, you know, if you look at what you think that A&M's going to do by renovating Bluebell, and then you look at what Texas State's going to go try to do, you know, renovating this ballpark that was built in 2009 with a handful of additions along the way, it just shows you how important the game is, and you know, and where it stands. You get a beautiful look at this stadium, and it seats, you know, 30. You can get 32, 33, you know, 100 in here. They're talking about going down the left field line with more boxes and suites and indoor facilities. And he throws another wicked breaker. I'm gonna tell you what, that sidearm breaker right there would be tough to stay on. But it just, to me, is so much fun to where it was when I played in the 80s and to where it is today and how important it is. And let me tell you what, when you get in these leagues, the SEC and the Sun Belt, you better buckle up and have resources and have facilities, because they do. And it's a big part of why they have chances to recruit the best players in the country, and why kids want to go there.
One ball, two strikes. Peary against Ferris. Texas A&M on top, 12-2. A swing and a miss, and a second straight strikeout for Peary. 2 down to the inning.
Oh, I wouldn't want to go up there and face that as a right-handed hitter, Brent. Watch this little tight thing right on the edge of the plate and just keep ducking away from you. And that's not a soft pitch either. That's a hard slider from that underarm position.
One ball, no strikes to Chase Mora. At Minute Maid Park last month, the most outstanding player, the Astros Foundation College Classic. Huge weekend, drove in 10. And the walk-off home run against Houston. Grand Slam against Texas. And trying to rediscover that Minute Maid magic. One ball and 2 strikes. Something we haven't talked about tonight. I know a lot of Bobcat fans keep wondering about. Ryan Farber missing another game for Texas State tonight. The star freshman who himself had a huge weekend in Houston has now missed 7 out of his last 9. Tough part of the lineup not in there for Steve Trout's team. As Mora shoots a pop-up the left side, and this is out of play for Kentz. Count remains a ball and 2 strikes.
Health is such a huge part of success. I mean, look, everybody uses the words, and it's right, the phrase, next man up. I totally agree. And as a coach, you would use it if you lost a guy. It's just sometimes the next guy up's not as, obviously the starter normally obviously is going to be better. And then when you get guys that got off to such a great start like Farber did, I mean, good gracious, for a freshman to come in here and lead off and hit like he did, play great defense, and you know, it would be a shot in the arm for them to get him back into the lineup, possibly moving forward into, you know, who knows when it's going to be, maybe the latter part of April, who knows.
Mora swings and misses the ball way out of the zone as Peary strikes out the side of the 7th inning.
I'm about to drop some knowledge real quick. Talking about a profession that deserves more respect. Slick nurses on the front line, saving lives every day. From the ER to the OR, they don't play. They the heartbeat of the healthcare scene. Always there, keeping patients clean. From newborns to the elderly, they care for all. Even when the workload feels like a brick wall. Nurses in the house, making rounds. Stethoscope in hand, they hold it down. They're the heroes and scrubs, no doubt, saving lives. That's what they're about. From administering meds to comforting fears, they're the ones wiping away all the tears. They'll advocate for you, be your voice in the crowd. In a chaotic world, they're the calm, never loud. Working long shifts, barely taking breaks. Their dedication and passion never fakes. Through the highs and lows, they persevere. Their compassion shines bright, crystal clear. Nurses in the house, making rounds. Stethoscope in hand, they hold it down. They're the heroes and scrubs, no doubt, saving lives. That's what they're out there. Respect to the nurses, holding it down. In a world where chaos often abounds, they're the backbone of healthcare, can't you see? Without them, where would we be? Nurses in the house, making rounds. Stethoscope in hand, they hold it down. They're the heroes and scrubs, no doubt, saving lives. That's what they're about. So next time you see a nurse, give them props for all they do, non-stop. They're the unsung heroes of our time. In the rhythm of life, they're the perfect rhyme.